In this video, Pecco reveals how he turns the Ducati like a Yamaha. Yamaha demands a very specific riding style, says Andrea Dovizioso. Lecuona pissed Petrucci pragmatic about Remy and Raul testing their Tech 3 KTM bikes. And Vinales says he is completely satisfied with his Aprilia move. My name is Sankalp and this is your Racing News Fix. When Pecco stepped up to Motogp in 2019, braking was his weakest point. But this year, he is impressing everyone with his braking and his cornering ability on the GP21. 8-time world champion Marquez called him Andrea Dovizioso with better cornering ability. And Johann Zarco believes Bagnaia is the one making the difference on the Ducati into the corners rather than the bike. After the second consecutive victory, Pecco spoke about how he turned his biggest weakness into his biggest strength. It is something that I have worked on a lot because in the first year in MotoGP, I was struggling a lot with the braking and I started working a lot in that area in the last part of 2019. In 2020, I had already done a big step, but I was working a lot with the street bike here at Misano to manage better the front tire. Because one good thing about our Panigale in terms of riding style and in terms of the tire is that the construction of the Michelin endurance tire is very similar. So what the front is doing is close, I think, to the MotoGP bike. So I worked a lot with these tires and that bike and also with the data of Jorge Lorenzo. So now the difference I make is just the last part of braking. I am braking as hard and as strong as I can, but I am making the difference in the entry, I think. Praising the GP21, Pecco continued. The good thing about this bike is that it is very stable. So in those fast corners, we can enter with a lot of speed and our bike is not shaking a lot. So I feel very great in the fast corners in all the circuits we have. Dovizioso is back and he is here to stay at least until the end of 2022. Dovi has been riding the Ducati powerhouse for the last 8 years and the switch to the underpowered Yamaha was always going to be tricky. Dovi was pleased overall with how his race went as he found out he was able to lap much stronger as the race progressed, though he agreed that he found riding the Yamaha pretty strange. Speaking about the M1, Dovi said, "The bike is very particular and it has a lot of good things, but you have to ride it in a special way, so it takes time to adapt and you have to understand everything." Still, the question mark I had before the race weekend was over the rear tire casing of last year, because in the way you have to brake it is a bit strange and the way the bike improved a lot in the later part of the race is very strange. So that is why it is very important to analyze and to understand if it was more me or the bike, what changed on the bike during the race. There were many times in the race where I had a good feeling and I felt good things on the bike, but I wasn't able to use the full potential. But that was good, that was important. After 10 months of not doing a race to do a consistent race and at the end be faster, I am happy. When asked to explain how the Yamaha is very particular, Dovizioso said that it needs a riding style that most bikes on the grid don't. It's easy, you can see how Fabio is riding. You have to brake really deep in a good way and you have to carry a lot of speed in the middle of the corners. It is the only way to use the potential of the bike because the bike demands it. So this is very particular to this bike because normally bikes in the MotoGP class you don't have to ride like this, maybe Suzuki, but the others definitely not. On the second day of the Misano official test last week, next year's rookies Remy Gardner and Raul Fernandez got their first taste of the KTM RC16. While the outgoing Danilo Petrucci seemed very pragmatic about the situation, Iker Lecuona did not even attempt to hide his frustration over losing a test day on the MotoGP bike. A frustrated Lecuona said, "Basically, my flight left at 6 o'clock in the morning of the second day, so I wasn't even there. I don't want to talk about it. It's a situation that really pisses me off. I don't understand it and I am not in favor of it, but I have to accept it. On the first day, we did the best job we could despite the wet conditions in the morning, so we will see where we are at the second race in Misano." Meanwhile, keeping his relationship with KTM strong, Danilo took the pragmatic approach and found sense in KTM's decision to give his bike to Remy Gardner for the second test day. "Gardner is a good rider and every day on the bike will be an aid for him," said Petrucci. "We didn't have new parts to test or any special things to try, so it wasn't too useful for me. It is more useful to have Remy riding the bike." And Maverick Vinales has now had 4 encounters with the RSGP, a 2-day private test, 2 full race weekends and another 2 days of official test. Although it is still a very limited experience, Maverick seems to be fitting in nicely with the team and is looking generally happier, at least from the outside. When asked about how he is feeling about the switch from Yamaha to Aprilia, Vinales said, "Yeah, I am satisfied. It's a new challenge. Sure, it's a very different challenge. It has brought me out of my comfort zone for sure because it's a totally different bike, so it is more difficult to ride and to keep doing better positions. At Aragon, we finished 27 seconds from the winner. At Misano, it was 21. We improve step by step, and that is the most important point. If you made it till here, let me know by giving this video a big thumbs up. To stay up to date on all things MotoGP, hit the subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell. Here are 2 more videos which you might enjoy. My name is Sankalp and I'll be back with another video very soon.